Apply pesticides at night to protect pollinators like bees, which are inactive after sunset. Cooler temperatures also reduce evaporation, making treatments more effective. Used coffee grounds enrich your garden by adding organic matter, improving soil texture, and providing a small amount of nitrogen. Use them by sprinkling directly on the soil, mixing into compost, or blending into the top few inches of garden beds. Heirloom seeds come from plant varieties that have been saved and passed down for many years, usually 50 or more. They are open pollinated, which means the seeds will grow into plants just like the parent plant. These seeds are loved for their rich flavor, genetic diversity, and historical significance. Bone meal doesn't burn plants because it's a slow-release fertilizer high in phosphorus and calcium, not fast-acting nitrogen. Fertilizers high in quick-release nitrogen, like ammonium sulfate or fresh manure, can burn plants by drawing moisture out of the roots and damaging tissues. Trichomes are tiny hair-like structures found on the surface of many plants, including leaves, stems, and flowers. They help protect the plant by reducing water loss, deterring pests, and sometimes producing compounds like essential oils or resins. Container plants generally need to be fertilized more often than those in garden beds because nutrients leach out quickly with frequent watering. Since the soil volume is limited, regular feeding helps maintain healthy growth and productivity. Typically every 1 to 2 weeks with liquid fertilizer or every 4 to 6 weeks with slow-release granules. Yellow leaves can indicate stress, disease, or nutrient deficiency, and removing them helps the plant redirect energy to healthy growth. Use clean, sharp scissors or pruners to snip yellowing leaves at the base without damaging the main stem. Staking pepper plants help support their stems, keeping them upright and preventing breakage from heavy fruit or strong winds. Use garden stakes, cages, or bamboo sticks and gently tie the plant with soft ties as it grows to avoid damaging the stem. Letting tomatoes ripen on the vine can boost their flavor and nutrient content, especially in warm, dry conditions, because the plant continues to deliver sugars and nutrients during the final ripening stage. However, if pests, cracking, or weather changes are a concern, it's better to pick them when they begin to blush and finish ripening indoors. As a beginner gardener, you'll likely encounter wilting plants or yellowing leaves. These issues are often caused by overwatering, which prevents the plant from absorbing nutrients, or underwatering, which can lead to wilting and death. That's why I believe a moisture meter is the best gardening tool for beginners. Roma tomatoes are oval-shaped due to selective breeding for traits like thick flesh, low moisture, and fewer seeds, ideal for sauces and canning. This shape also makes them less prone to cracking and easier to process. Cucumber leaves have a unique lobe shape to maximize sunlight capture and airflow around the plant. This shape also helps reduce the risk of fungal diseases by allowing better ventilation. Cucumber plants often develop small spikes along their stems, which can turn into roots when exposed to moisture. By mounding compost up to the highest spike, you encourage extra root growth, boosting the plant's resilience to summer heat and drought stress. A sign of tomato blushing is when the fruit begins turning from green to a pinkish or reddish hue, typically starting at the blossom end. This is caused by the natural breakdown of chlorophyll and the buildup of pigments like lycopene and carotene as the fruit enters the ripening stage. To check if your plants need water, stick your finger deep into the soil. If it comes out clean, the soil is dry and it's time to water. If it comes out with dirt sticking to it, the soil has moisture, so hold off on the watering. Growing cucumbers vertically helps prevent pests and fungal diseases while making the most of limited space. Just imagine how much room a sprawling vine would take up if it grew along the ground instead. You can support your vining plants with plastic stakes, tomato cages, or even bamboo poles. But my favorite, whatever you've got lying around. Like this golf club my neighbor used to prop up their pepper plants. You can grow plants in fancy ceramic pots, store-bought plastic containers, or decorative planters. But my favorite, whatever holds soil and drains, like this free plastic container I found on the side of the road. Gardening brings so many joys, from getting your hands dirty to watching something you planted grow and thrive. But the best part? Sharing the harvest, the tips, and the smiles with friends who appreciate it just as much. Cut your seed germination time in half with this method. First, scarify the seed by slicing the side opposite the microfile. This helps water penetrate the seed coat. Then, soak it for 8 hours to fully absorb moisture. After planting, wrap the container to create a mini greenhouse and speed up sprouting. Instead of throwing your yogurt container away after eating, give it to your dog or wash it to clean the insides. Then, drill 3 holes in the bottom of the container, fill it with soil, and now you have the perfect seed starting pot. If you are worried the finger method might damage your roots and you don't have a moisture meter, just grab a bamboo skewer. Stick it into the soil like you're testing a cake. If it comes out dry, it's time to water. Used coffee grounds are not only a great soil additive, but they can also help deter pests. By sprinkling them around the borders of your garden, you may be able to keep out common garden invaders like slugs and snails. I was wrong about milk in the garden. The Amish are actually known to use milk as a fungicide by mixing 1 part milk to 10 parts water. They then apply it as a foliar spray to treat diseases like powdery mildew. Garlic contains sulfur compounds like allicin that naturally repel pests and fight microbes. Crush garlic and soak it in water for 24 hours to make a natural spray that repels aphids, beetles, and caterpillars. If you don't want to spend money on expensive fertilizers, the Finnish have the perfect method for you. Mix 1 part urine with 10 parts water to create a nitrogen-rich fertilizer that can be applied as a soil drench. You know how soap can dry out your skin? Well, it does the same to soft-body pests like aphids and whiteflies. It disrupts their cell membranes and strips away the protective waxy layer, basically drying them out. To apply it in your garden, just grab some organic dish soap, dilute it in water, and spray it on your plants. If your cucumber leaves are starting to turn yellow, do these 2 things immediately to fix it. First, check the moisture level to make sure you aren't overwatering, especially if it's been raining a lot recently. Too much water prevents proper nutrient absorption. If that's not the issue, apply a nitrogen-rich liquid fertilizer to boost leaf color and restore vibrant green. Never give up on your plants. This spring, I had to deal with excessive rain, which led to a lot of overwatering. Then, a stretch of cold weather caused poor germination. Even with all that, I was still able to grow peppers, even on the smallest plants. How pests feel after I spray them with my homemade garlic pesticide.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
By far the worst part of gardening is spending 90 days nurturing your plant from seed to harvest, only to have a pest swoop in at the last moment and ruin all your hard work. But I'm not giving up. Brown edges on pepper leaves are often caused by inconsistent watering, nutrient deficiencies, especially potassium, or salt buildup in the soil. To fix it, flush the soil with water, ensure consistent moisture, and feed with a balanced fertilizer containing micronutrients. The easiest way to grow peppers is to start with a 7-gallon grow bag, which helps prevent overwatering due to its fabric material. Fill the bag with any potting mix you enjoy using. These mixes contain everything your plant needs to thrive in the beginning. After planting, add a 40-inch tomato cage so you don't have to worry about tying up branches. Finally, apply a hydrolyzed fish and seaweed fertilizer every 2 weeks starting on the day you plant to provide steady nutrients. Birds aren't eating your tomato plants because they are hungry. They are thirsty. To keep them from ruining your crop, try one of these 2 solutions. First, set up a bird bath that's about 2 inches deep with stones so birds can perch and drink safely. Second, harvest your tomatoes when they are orange, before they get too ripe and tempting. A cucumber plant can have both male and female flowers and still be considered self-pollinating because both flower types are on the same plant. However, it still requires pollen transfer, typically by insects or manual pollination. Male cucumber flowers grow on thin stems and produce only pollen, with no fruit behind them. Female flowers have a small, immature cucumber at the base and can develop into fruit if pollinated. Grow bags are fabric containers used for growing plants, offering excellent drainage and air circulation to promote healthy root development. They are a popular alternative to traditional pots, especially for vegetables and herbs, and help prevent issues like root rot and overwatering. I just found the coolest way to grow vegetables. You can grow plants on straw bales by simply fertilizing the top. I definitely need to try this. A baby cucumber looks like a tiny, green, rigid fruit forming behind a female flower. It's usually just an inch or two long and resembles a miniature version of a mature cucumber. Don't worry if your cucumber plant isn't producing any female flowers yet. On average, a cucumber plant produces 20 male flowers for every female flower. Electroculture gardening uses copper antennas or wires to harness atmospheric electricity and boosts plant growth naturally. Gardeners report faster growth, larger yields, and reduced need for fertilizers or watering. Moon phase gardening is the practice of planting, pruning, and harvesting based on the phases of the moon. It's believed that the moon's gravitational pull affects moisture in the soil, influencing seed germination and plant growth. Many believe strawberries got their name because farmers once mulched them with straw. In reality, the name comes from the Old English strawberries, referring to the plant's runners that stray or spread out. If your plants are experiencing heat stress, try seaweed fertilizer. It improves heat tolerance by supplying natural hormones and heat shock proteins that regulate stress responses, promote deeper root growth, and protect plant cells from heat-induced damage. Have you ever seen gardeners snip seeds, rub them with sandpaper, or soak them in water? That's called scarification, the process of weakening a seed's hard outer coating to help it absorb water and germinate faster. When you think of vitamin C, you probably think of an orange. But the new poster child for vitamin C should be the red bell pepper. It has more than twice as much. If you're looking for the perfect 1-2 punch to grow this summer, look no further. These two plants thrive in similar conditions, battle different pests, and don't compete underground. What are they? Cucumbers and peppers, the ultimate summer growing duo. You spent weeks nurturing your baby pepper plant until it was nearly fully ripened, but you don't want to risk a pest eating it before you harvest. Unfortunately, bell peppers are not climacteric, which means they barely ripen after being harvested. Choosing the right grow bag size can be tough, especially since moisture retention is a common complaint among gardeners using grow bags. I like to use this graphic, find my vegetables, let's say peppers, and then double the recommended bag size. So instead of a 3-gallon bag, I go with a 5-gallon one. You finally have a female cucumber appear after waiting patiently, but you're not sure if it has been pollinated. If it wasn't, the cucumber will start to turn yellow and shrivel up. To guarantee pollination next time, simply use a paintbrush to manually pollinate the female flower. If you want to stop wasting water, try deep watering. The idea is to slowly water your plants with a low flow, giving the soil time to absorb the moisture, which prevents runoff and minimizes soil compaction. In containers, use the water and wait method. Water a little bit, wait for it to absorb, then repeat until you see water begin to drain from the bottom. Fertilizer is the Robin to compost's Batman. Fertilizers provide essential nutrients quickly, but they don't improve soil structure, water retention, or microbial life like compost does. Used together, however, they make a great team. I made a mistake with my poblano pepper plants. I didn't check how tall they would get when fully grown. So after a few weeks, I had to add tomato cages for support. But adding them this late can damage the roots and slow down growth. You are noticing your pepper plant's leaves turning yellow, but if it's just the bottom leaves, there's nothing to be concerned about. If the yellowing has moved up the plant, it's likely a nitrogen deficiency, which can be fixed by applying a liquid fertilizer high in nitrogen for instant absorption. I was talking to my buddy about his pepper plants that are producing plenty of flowers, but they end up drying up and falling out. This is a common problem that occurs when the plant is stressed due to underwatering, which causes blossom drop. If your pepper plants are wilting from the heat of the day, that's actually a great time to prune. Leaves that touch the ground can spread disease, so take this opportunity to remove any foliage that is in contact with the soil. If you notice your bell peppers developing brown spots on the bottom, it's likely blossom end rot. While a calcium deficiency can be the cause, it's more often due to inconsistent watering, which leads to poor nutrient absorption.